So in this video, we're going to discuss the promotional ladder of public accounting. And so if you're new to this channel, my name is Arielle. I'm a certified public accountant in the state of Florida. And this channel is all about helping people determine if accounting is the right career for you and what kinds of opportunities there are in the profession and things to consider. So in this video, let's discuss a little bit further about what stages that you'll go through or what can you expect to go through if you decide to go the public accounting route. So that would be working for a public accounting firms, which are companies that are going to be primarily focused on things like auditing and tax and consulting work. There are various other areas as well that some of these firms participate in, but those are some of the big ones. And so that's going to be where you're going to be working for one of those firms, and then you're going to be working for various clients for those firms on a variety of projects. And so let's discuss kind of what to expect with those. So the first level of the public accounting ladder is going to be an intern. And so an internship for public accounting is something that's very important. Most firms, especially if you are a newly graduating college student, they want you to have some type of intern experience. And the good news about these internships is that they're usually paid internships. So long gone are days of unpaid internships, at least in this kind of profession. And so you can fully expect to be paid in these internships. It's usually the first role. It's usually taken by students either like in between semesters, or they'll take a semester off to do an internship, or they'll do it at the very end of their education as they maybe graduate, and they'll still do an internship before they get hired on for a permanent role. Sometimes there are part-time internships available as well. So this is really going to be the very first stage that most people are going to go through when entering public accounting with no prior other accounting experience. So your intern is going to be the first stop, and interns are pretty much treated like full employees in the sense that they usually have various responsibilities that they're going to be in charge of, various areas that they're working on projects with tax, with audit, things of that nature. So that's going to be the very first ladder to climb, is going to be your internship. Now the second level is going to be your associate level. Some firms will call it an associate, some will call it like a staff accountant or staff one. Associate is probably what I hear the most often, but it really just depends on the firm that you work for. And so this is going to be your usually after, kind of newly graduated from college, usually after an internship, or maybe someone who has a couple years of industry experience that's going to transfer into the more public side of things. And so an associate is going to be that first main like full-time position, permanent position, whereas an internship is usually a temporary situation. And so there's really not a ton of difference in between interns and associates when it comes to job expectations, or I guess more like job roles. There is a little bit of an expectation in the sense interns usually aren't expected to know quite as much. Associates as well, it really is an entry-level role. So you're going to be doing a lot of the more tedious, less risky work for audits, and some of maybe the simpler tax returns on the tax side, things of that nature. So that's going to be really your first step. Now, the second main step in public accounting is going to be your senior level. A senior usually has a minimum of probably 2 years of experience in public accounting. Sometimes it could be 3 or 4. Usually like 2 is typically the very minimum. So that's going to be, as a senior, you're usually working on more difficult areas of an engagement of a project. You're going to usually have some supervisor role type situation over other associates and interns. So it's going to be a balance of doing higher level work and also taking in and mentoring associates and interns. Now, I do think it's important to say that depending on the firm you go to, sometimes there is a middle step. We're going to talk about kind of the 5 main. So that's going to be your intern, your associate, your senior, your manager, and your partner levels. So those are kind of like the 5 big ones. There are some small in-between steps depending on which firm you go to. There may be an in-between. So you might have an associate, and then you might have an experienced associate, or you might have a staff 1, and then you might have a staff 2 in between the like associate and senior level. So again, some firms do this way to kind of, which can be nice. So you kind of, in a way, can get a promotion every year and get a little bit more pay beyond the typical like standard raise, but get some type of a little bit higher bump for promotional raise. So that is kind of an in-between role that does exist depending on which firm you attend. But generally it's intern, associate, sometimes experienced associate, and then your senior role. Now, after your senior role, the next big milestone is going to be the manager type role. So manager, usually it takes a very minimum of about 5 years of public accounting experience or the equivalent, and maybe some other work experience, but usually about minimum of 5 years. And again, that's usually the very minimum. Sometimes it could take 6, 7, 8 years to get there. But the earliest I usually see people is about 5 years. And so that's going to definitely be a lot more supervisor role. You're going to be supervising the seniors. You're going to be taking on, depending on the firm, various other like planning and scheduling activities, maybe doing a lot more stuff with on the client side, like some more client management, trying to kind of start to build up even a book of business to get towards becoming a partner, as we'll discuss here in a second. So they're going to be doing a lot more review work versus individual detailed work. And again, are going to be supervising some of the seniors, and the seniors are supervising the associates and so forth. So that's going to be your next role. And then similar to how there's kind of a step in between with the associate and senior level, sometimes there's what is known as a supervisor, might be an in-between step that some firms do between senior and manager, kind of a more experienced senior, but not quite getting to the manager role. I do want to make a quick point that in order to become a manager at most firms, CPA firms, you do need to be a licensed CPA. And so usually, you don't necessarily need to be a CPA and have your license to start out in your career. You do usually have to have some type of college degree. If you're an associate or above, interns usually can still be working on their degrees. That's typically how it's done. Now, in order though to make that leap from senior to manager or supervisor to manager, usually most firms require you to have your license at that point. And so in order to become manager, you usually need at least a minimum of 5 years experience, and then also need that CPA. And then the top of the iceberg is going to be your partner level. And so your partners are going to be those who, there are different kinds of partners. You can have like an ownership type role, like an equity role in a partnership. There's different forms that partnership can take, but usually you are some type of owner at that point, and you are still going to be doing a lot of work. A lot of the partners that I know do work quite a lot. So I wouldn't expect at a partner level, like don't expect it to be like you've made it to the top and you don't have to work anymore. It's not quite the case whatsoever, at least not what I've seen. But the partner is going to be doing a lot more of the final review of work. They're going to be the ones signing off on the tax returns. They're going to be the ones signing off on the audits with quality review. They're the ones that their names are on the line if there's any legal issue that comes up with those engagements. So higher responsibility, but higher reward, higher reward and benefits and pay and things of that nature. To become a partner, that really, really varies on how long it takes. I want to say about at a minimum, probably like 10 years, but really it depends. In order to become a partner in a firm, usually you have to be able to bring in some type of business, have something to offer there. And so usually, it depends on how long that takes you as a manager to like kind of build up that book of business to become a partner. So, you could never get to the partner level, or you can get to it a lot quicker depending on kind of that skill set. But it is definitely a different skill set. Partners, there's a lot more, I don't want to say sales exactly, but you are more involved in the business side of the business, trying to bring in clients, for example, keep clients. So you're not going to be doing the detailed work that some of the other accountants are doing, right? So those are kind of the main steps. And then again, similar to what we talked about before, the in-between levels, there's manager, and then sometimes there's like a senior manager role, or sometimes they'll, instead of manager, they'll use the term director, same type of thing. So you can have a little bit of an in-between step again between like a manager director and like a partner level. And so those are that's the basic career level of accounting. You got your intern, you got your associate, you got your senior, you got your manager, and you have your partner. So that's how it works. Again, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear in the comments and I can answer some more specifics. Maybe I'll do some more specifics on more in depth of those roles. But this is the basis of what you can expect the different roles to be in your public accounting career. If you like this, please check out the other videos, give it a like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good day.